Hello friends! How do you remember Mario Kart 64 looked like? Maybe something like this? No, that's actually Royal Raceway in Mario Kart 8, but maybe you remember it looking something like this. Looks very 90s, but still pretty nice after 25 years. What if I told you it actually looked like this? Your CRT monitor probably smoothed those crunchy pixels a bit, but that's pretty much what Nintendo 64 was pushing out. I can hear some of you saying, I just showed you an emulator running at high resolution, but that's not the whole truth. Here's Project 64 cranked all the way up to 1080p on highest settings. What you just saw was the new HD mod for Mario Kart 64 by Android and friends. Mario Kart 64 used a pretty unusual rendering technique for the 3D era. The tracks were in full 3D, but the races were 2D sprites. It's actually not that much different from Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo or something much older such as Outrun on the arcade. Due to the low resolution of Nintendo 64, the characters actually looked pretty good, but you could see they are rendered for just a limited number of directions if you watch closely during the trophy ceremony. See how the characters rotate kinda choppily, even when the camera moves smoothly. As the regular viewers of this channel know, just running the game on higher resolution doesn't really make it a HD experience. You also need HD quality textures. And just like classic Final Fantasy games, there's a dedicated group of fans that has been working hard to make Mario Kart 64 look sharp, while still keeping the original aesthetics. Unlike the Final Fantasy mods that mostly used AI upscaling to freshen up the backgrounds, Android and the crew actually modeled all the characters in the same style as they were seen in marketing materials. They didn't use Silicon Graphics workstations like the originals, but I think they really nailed the look using Blender. Here's some examples comparing marketing materials with the modded game. And here's a montage of comparison shots between the original and the modded game. Looks pretty sharp to me. The highlight here are certainly the character renders. I really enjoy the plasticist 90s render style, it looks so authentic. Here's the game running in the emulator with and without the mod. The settings are otherwise the same. That train really needs an honorable mention on the best trains in games list. The team has also replaced all of the background textures, but that's more mixed bag. Texture-heavy levels such as the DK Jungle and the Rainbow Road looked great, but some surfaces feel too detailed and clash with the characters. The modders have tracked down many of the original stock photos for creating the original textures, but the end result sometimes looks out of place in the cartoony Mushroom Kingdom, although I guess awkward photo textures also match the style of the 90s. Oh, the 90s! As you might have guessed, this mod unfortunately doesn't run on the original hardware, and instead requires using an emulator on PC. Some articles said that a special build of MK64 emulator would be needed, but I didn't have much issue running it on the latest build of Project 64. Installing the mod is little more than unpacking the textures to the emulator's texture folder and configuring the graphics plugin to use them. But I'll release a quick tutorial on how to do it anyway. The links for downloading the mod can be found in the video description. The mod leverages modern emulators' ability to replace the textures in the emulated games. This means all the game logic is the same as always, it just looks sharper. The team has also been working on making Kamek a playable character, as shown in some of the early marketing materials. If you're interested, you can easily open the new texture files to appreciate how many different renders the team was required to recreate. I find it amusing that the mod file size is about 200 times larger than the original game. Since we're running the game on an emulator, you can also play it in unstretched and uncropped widescreen. Even ultra-wide resolutions work for most cinematic experience. Generally, I think this mod is great. Just like the Final Fantasy HD mods, I would default to using it whenever replaying Mario Kart 64 these days. Unless you want the most authentic experience on the original hardware, just go for it. It doesn't change the gameplay at all, and I bet the look it creates was what the developers were striving for. If you want to see more about retro Mario Kart, I recently made a video comparing some of the often recurring retro tracks through the series, and I'll release a tutorial video about installing this mod a bit later. So remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. That's all for today, see you next time!